Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Thursday morning to you all. I hope you guys are having a great start to your day and a great week so far as we're rolling on through 2022 or June 2nd. We're going to talk about weather expected today for the lower 48 for your June 2nd and really talk about what can unfold today. Not expecting very active weather for a lot of folks today, just general risk of severe storms, strong to severe storms, but not expecting any kind of significant weather outbreak potential or anything like that. But I'm expecting areas of the mid-Atlantic, Virginia, maybe Maryland, maybe areas of Delaware could see some severe storms. Southern areas in New Jersey are under a slight risk today, and really damaging winds, maybe some hail is the biggest threat. I think damaging winds probably is the bigger threat today. So we're going to talk about that in the beginning of the video because that is probably the most active thing weather-wise to really discuss for today. And then stay tuned for tonight. We're going to continue to break down the tropics. Not a whole lot's changed from overnight. Things are still on schedule to be a pretty impactful event rain-wise for Florida. But a major hurricane or anything like that, no, I'm not expecting that. But we'll talk about that this evening. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. As always, if you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. Gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. And all look out for one another and glorify God doing it. So I really appreciate all the nice comments from yesterday afternoon's video that I made. It really means a lot. You guys basically relating to some of the things I said and just the encouraging comments. I really appreciate you guys. I really do. Y'all mean the world to me. So let's get rolling. Let's talk about water vapor loop. We normally look at this every single morning. And it's kind of deja vu from yesterday. You got another trough digging through the northern part of the country that will cool you guys down again for the Great Lakes region. And, we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. But really, your focus really is on this right here, this big blob of convection. Everybody else, though, is pretty calm for now. But, it's interesting to look at this on radar. This is some pretty active weather that Dallas has been having this morning. This is outflow boundary driven, meaning you can't really see it on radar, but there is an outflow right here, probably moving through eastern areas of Texas that is refiring up this line of storms. So watch out areas like Shreveport here in the next couple hours. Areas of Arkansas are already under the gun. You just can't see it because we're not under that radar, but you guys are seeing a little bit of nasty weather this morning too. So a nasty little storm, severe storm complex is moving through here. Actually, not any severe warnings up right now, but this is some strong storms action happening in northeast Texas right now. So we look a little further in this video. We want to talk about it. We got a marginal risk for this very small area of far western Texas and the slither of central and southern areas of New Mexico, which had some big time storms yesterday, produced some haboobs where you basically got some really dry conditions, kicked up a lot of dust. So some crazy looking supercells out there yesterday evening that some storm chasers got. But really the main focus is the slight risk. It's a heavily populated area for some. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Virginia Beach, Richmond, all included. Philadelphia barely included or excluded. But either way, some strong storms expected for this area. And then you got a long area of a marginal risk, level 1 out of 5, for a lot of the deep south cities. Areas like Atlanta, Birmingham, Jackson, Mississippi, down to Shreveport. You guys could see some storms today. And then even for the Carolinas, a little bit later this evening, a line of storms could work through. But really talking about this slight risk, the tornado threat for any of this is below 2%. So the tornado threat with this is pretty much lessened. The kinematics has went away due to the fact that that low pressure that's really causing this severe weather is way up here in Canada. So lack of kinematics, basically. This is basically thermodynamic driven, meaning it's driven really more by a little bit of steep lapse rates, and then also the fact that you just got warm, humid air in place, hot, humid air. In fact, it's going to be some of the hottest weather today in the southeast so far for 2022. Damaging wind threat, 15% risk of damaging winds, 25 miles in a given location in this yellow area. There's also a hail threat too, but this isn't really set up dynamic-wise that really favors big-time hail as far as, maybe some areas of penny-sized hail is definitely possible, but as far as major hailstorms, definitely not a setup for this. So let's talk about the Mid-Atlantic really briefly here and how this can unfold and really zoom in on this slight risk area. Washington, D.C. right here, Baltimore right here, and Virginia Beach, places like this, Delaware, New Jersey. the whole 9 yards here. So we're getting into about midday. You already got some showers and storms in areas of PA, Virginia. You already have some storms popping off, and this will continue to move through. And then as we get into about early to mid-afternoon, watch out. Some isolated supercells could form. A tornado threat with these is very low, but some discrete looking cells could form, and really damaging winds is the biggest threat. So really as early as 2 to 4 p.m., you guys could be under the gun in Washington, D.C. for some nasty storms. And then we keep this going through the early evening hours around supper time. Some of these storms will start to make its way into the Delmarva area, areas of Delaware. Watch out New Jersey. You guys could see some storms. And even down here in southern and southwest areas of Virginia, some storms are certainly possible. It's hard to predict exactly where these are going to be, but these will be drifting basically, in a nutshell, basically from west to east. So stormy weather expected in West Virginia, and this whole entire area could be under the gun this afternoon for some severe storms and lingering all the way through the evening hours. So, be mindful of the weather today. I'm not expecting a big time severe weather outbreak in this area, but you're going to have some strong to severe storms popping off just after lunchtime today. So keep your eye on the sky and definitely have a reliable radar downloaded. But everybody else for the southeast, for example, marginal risk, kind of a slither of a marginal risk extending all the way into this area. And really, it's just because the atmosphere is going to destabilize a little bit later. So please watch out anywhere in this area right here. Could have some severe storms in Tennessee, even though you're not really seeing it. Mississippi, expect that severe weather complex that's moving through areas of Dallas and Fort Worth right now to eventually refire up and may weaken somewhat through the morning hours, but eventually that energy is going to make it to Mississippi, cause a little bit of nasty weather, some showers and storms. Some could be severe for areas of Mississippi, especially central Mississippi later this evening around dinner time. And then some showers and storms popping off in the Piedmont of North Carolina, upstate of South Carolina as we move through. And then they can make it all the way into the Carolinas, maybe Virginia, and even this complex of storms moving into Alabama into the overnight hours a little bit later this evening. So a little bit of rain is certainly possible. I think the severe weather threat and the main storm threat will shift this will be more for Friday. And then also you can already actually see some of the moisture from what could possibly be Alex. We'll see if this develops into a tropical storm before hitting the western side of Florida, or if it turns into a tropical storm after it goes over the peninsula of Florida, or does it turn into a tropical storm at all? You can actually see this little bit of spin right here from that area we mentioned last night. There's a little bit of a spin right here. It's really interesting to actually watch it. But in general, this is pretty much what could pretty much unfold for the southeast today. The immediate northeast, a lot more quieter of a day. But please watch out for areas like New York City, even New Jersey today. Some of these storms could pack a punch. They even look almost supercell in nature, where you got a little bit of a hook on these storms. So these will move through this afternoon. Watch out New York City. These could pack a punch for New Jersey, Long Island. Some severe storms is certainly possible well before the sun goes down. So this will be happening in the afternoon hours where a lot of people are still at work. So please watch out for some storms that really form in eastern PA and then make its way into New Jersey and New York City and Long Island a little bit later this afternoon is certainly possible. But outside of that, just that severe weather threat down here in the mid-Atlantic, like I just mentioned. The south central U.S., the only thing really going on is what could potentially happen with this complex of storms that we just talked about. This will move into Louisiana into the midday to early afternoon hours, and then southern Arkansas, and then eventually make its way into Mississippi a little bit later. Then the marginal risk is up for this area, for this other little low pressure developing along this trough. And this could pop off some severe storms. Maybe a very photogenic storm or two is possible in New Mexico today. Certainly is possible if you're in the right place at the right time. North central U.S., a little bit of some troughing. An upper level low is spinning down, and you can actually see it on Water Vapor Loop. This will bring some showers and cooler weather for areas of northern Minnesota, especially the northeast part of the state, northern Michigan. You guys are just going to have potentially some showers pivoting through the area a little bit later this afternoon. Maybe a storm, maybe a rumble of thunder, and just some cooler weather. I did not pull up the temperatures. Let's do that while I'm making the video. I do apologize. Normally I have my act together here. But temperature-wise today, I'm expecting a very, very hot day for the southeast. I'm talking about 90s, upper 90s. think it hit 96 at my house yesterday per my weather station on my roof. But, you know, you're ahead of this front right here, so you're just baking. Humidity isn't that bad. Dew point's just in the 60s. But still, it's definitely going to be a hot day. Hottest of 2022, I think, for the immediate southeast. I'm talking about areas of eastern Virginia, even up into Maryland and Delaware, especially the central to eastern Carolinas, southeast Georgia, southern Georgia, well into maybe the mid-90s today. Very hot day. But if you move a little bit west, you're under the influence of this troughing. You guys are cooler. Like, for example, the Ohio Valley today only in the 70s. Michigan 70s, the north central U.S. 70s, and you finally get a little cool break for most of Texas, unless you're way down here in deep in southern areas of Texas. But unfortunately, there's a little bit of troughing moving through, like I said, associated with that upper level, that upper low right here in the northern areas of Minnesota. This will pivot through, and it will bring you guys some cooler temperatures, I think, really for tomorrow. Highs will be very cool up in this region, so expect a cool day. But we'll talk about more about that tomorrow morning, obviously. But the western U.S., pretty quiet weather. More showers, maybe some storms could pop off in these areas of Idaho, Oregon, Washington State, and southwest Montana. Seems like that's been a regular occurrence over the last several days for this region. And then that's about it. And then as far as temperatures, you're beginning to rebound. You're losing the influence of the trough. Ridging is rebuilding in this region, and you're starting to get to around average to slightly above average temperatures for everybody out west. As far as the tropics, nothing has changed. This was around the 2 a.m. update. Well, actually, technically 1:33 a.m. update. This will be another update at 8 a.m. Something will probably change with this, but 80% chance for this to develop into a depression within the next 48 hours. And I think it likely will do so. The bigger question is, will this develop into a storm before impacting Florida? Latest European model, we'll start this off for tomorrow evening. It takes this, doesn't really strengthen it much. A lot of dry air and shear is really wreaking havoc on the western side of the storm, and really just does not allow it to develop here. Per the Euro, the GFS is actually the more aggressive scenario now, just a little bit further south, and actually has this becoming a weak tropical storm, make an impact a little bit more south on the Florida Peninsula. But this gets very close to maybe tropical storm status as it makes landfall Saturday evening or overnight Saturday into Sunday. And then I really expect this to strengthen off the coast of the southeast. And I think that it's inevitable at this point that I really think we get our first named storm out of this, if not before it hits Florida, but after it hits Florida. So we'll talk more about this tonight. That's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great Thursday, and I'll talk to y'all this evening.